Hello and welcome, trainers of Aos Island. My name is Natera, and of course, next to me we've got Bridget. If I bring you the action, she's bringing you everything you need to know and the nuances of Pokemon Unite.
Everything.
I hope so.
That's what I'm doing. Yep, that I'm ready to do that. It's 8 a.m. my time, and we got some good games coming up. Even starting off with this first one. Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm actually pretty excited, especially for I think Kamai Engage is going to be a good one for our game number 2. But first, we have BH3 and Volticons, which I believe should be kicking off here soon. Obviously, we are in spectate mode, so we won't be seeing like drafts or anything like that.
That is the draft. You're watching the draft now.
Yeah, which Pokemon we can find that they're playing as. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe we are gonna get right into this. This is the draft.
Mind you that BH3 is on a 5-win streak at the moment through their run. Volticons is hit 2-2, having their latest loss last night. But from what I have from production, some think that Volticons Unite 2-0, they're gonna beat BH3 Esports. That's what I heard. Okay, I could be mistaken.
I believe in what Volticons has to offer. We're gonna see Utah start off in that central area on the Scyther. I assume they will remain a Scyther. I've been seeing Utah rocking this, I believe, in their set yesterday on stream, so fun to see them kick off. Meanwhile, we have Leon trying to get Saz out of their Charizard X jungle.
Saz is in a good place. Knows where his friends are, but his friends don't want him. Is that his fault? I don't think so. Saz is going to continue to see if he can extend his friendship to his friends on the side of Volticons Unite. But if we're taking a look at how BH3 was handled this year, it looks like they've got Sashimi for themselves out the top lane here, and they're going to continue to get some stacks alongside Dan. Lucario for the 1 point, 17 points for the Scyther, and of course a little chump change of a Glossifer in the middle.
Yeah, honestly, not a bad look out of Volt so far in this game. Obviously, BH3 has this tiny bit of point advantage. Now we're going to see the first real scuffle up in this top path. Looks like an E-Speed Lucario out of Cranex picks up the KO on that Charmeleon, who's just trying to get their XP so they can Mega Evolve, but not going to happen for them just yet.
Hey, good thing it's an E-Speed Lucario. It might be the only good Lucario I see today. If someone's gonna bring in a skin with a red Lucario instead, the pirate one, no one wants to see that. Okay, I'm just calling it out on someone's channel.
They have the based OG cool kid Lucario skin. That was like, God, I feel like that was like the only skin in the game for a while, that Lucario skin. Maybe it's just because everyone was playing Lucario. Meanwhile, Saz has honestly just bought property in the enemy jungle. I don't really think I've seen them anywhere else, but honestly, that is the strat if you're going against something that needs a lot of XP like that Mega Charizard X. You gotta just put them on the back foot, and I mean, still being level 6 is kind of sick work for this Mega Charizard at this point in the game.
Well, let's see if they can get anything out of it here. Electro Ball does not get the execute, and unfortunately for them, it looks like they've only got a KO on the top side on the Charmeleon. Score power right now is at 118 to 29. They're going to carry on to take the lead. Tibby attempting to make some play here against Saz. This for a little punching bag, but of course Tibby, having once been that punching bag as well, wants to take out its frustration onto this Lucario, but Cranex just speeding by with E-Speed here and nothing to make out of it. Utah, top and bottom side here rather, is gonna see if he can make a play here, and it looks like these are postured for their objectives. Top side Regieleki, bottom side the Reggie Bros.
Yeah, looks like there's going to be priority on both ends, but a bit more of a contest up in this top path. We do see that Mega Mewtwo get on board, but just gets KO'd. Lucario in a bit of a pickle does get that wish, backs out, but that leaves Volticon open to kind of secure this as they please, but it was actually the Crustle that gets that Regieleki. I didn't even see what they casted to secure that, but leave it to Megu to get that one for their team.
Right, and they even get this one in, which means there's a few more points that's gonna be flowing through. But right now, it looks like Fizzy's gonna see if he can get onto Utah here, and I don't think it's gonna happen much more than a little bit of a payback session here. Because look at the damage that's flying through to the side of our Vaporeon here. It's a little bit locked off from his team, but that's all good. It's a very tanky Pokemon. See a lot in play as of late, so gotta give it to him. Still a mighty Pokemon to be found. But if we're looking at the scoreline here, this mighty team to be found is BH3 with a score point lead of about 128, 27. I'm counting.
It is too early in the morning for me to be doing math, so I will take your word for it. Up at this top path, we're going to see both Mega Charizard and Gyarados come out, but they're just on too low of HP to really make anything happen. I mean, BH3 is kind of got a really nice comp here to take down not one, not two, but technically three Mega Evolution Pokemon. Mewtwo kind of has an asterisk for me since they were old Mega news,
Old Mega.
So, BH3 handling it so well. Honestly, like the latter half of the game is where these Mega Evolution Pokemon get pretty scary, but so far BH3 has been able to put them on the back foot.
And they're going to continue to do so here with this 32 Doug and leading them into a 200 and... Sorry, I'm counting. 16-point lead. As they do that, no credits going into the back lines here with E-Speed. I think he missed one here. That's going to be a rough spot for him. There's nothing more you can do but to wait it out here. He tries to wait for another fight. They do get a Registeel buff as well, which means this could be a lot more favorable for them in terms of damage numbers. But I don't think they are in a good position to carry on. Scyther picking up for one here. Utah's looking mighty happy. Leon, unfortunately, for the side of Megu here is going to escape here. But right now, Utah has the damage. If he wants to take a fight now, it's a great time to do so.
Yeah, Utah just done a great job finding value on this map. BH3 has done a lot of split priority on these top and bottom Reggies. I feel like Scyther is just kind of the perfect mon to solo rip, and you kind of just never want to run into a Scyther, even if they're on their own. We are on this Groudon map, so not a lot of bushes to necessarily hide in from that Scyther, so you're a little bit exposed, I guess, if you see Utah wandering anywhere on this map. During this kind of middle portion of the game, we kind of just have BH3 setting up positioning all over the central area. You can see they were almost kind of forming like a line to hold down both not only their goal zones, but wherever Volticons is trying to meet up and gather before they even can push one of their goal zones. Gosh, what a good Mew Beam. I believe that hit like 3 of them, which gets you a reset on that Mew Beam. Krynex somehow managed to get a 40 bomb in. Not sure how they even got there, but I guess Volticons didn't know either.
They took the slow and scenic route. Volticons unite. They're trying to win the game here, but this man, Krynex, slowly taking the highway back down there. However, the point that we're going to have to make here is that they are actually in a pretty big deficit. As of now, 29 points have been stationary for about 6 minutes, I would say. I don't want to make that terrible joke just yet, holding it down. And the problem is, it's just going to keep escalating, right? They get another Reggie for himself. This is the third Reggie that BH3 is going to get. It is going to keep them up into the 13s for most of their Pokemon as well. And now, right now, we don't have a power spike of Volticons Unite moving into the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, no level 13s for Volticons is a super rough spot to be in. We can see that they're prioritizing some of this farm now, which I definitely think is the play. I mean, this Regieleki is kind of whatever to me. Obviously, they're at a huge point deficit. BH3 has done an incredible job defending their tier 1 goal zones, but now going to this Groudon, they do kind of have to make some macro decisions on how hard they want to defend these goal zones, how hard are they going to hold the central area, and it looks like they're doing pit priority for the most part. You do see that Lucario's up toward that tier 1 on top side, so they do seem like they have it all covered pretty well. Like they have such a hold on the bottom side of this pit. I don't
Right.
even think they're worried about anyone getting to that tier 1 on the bottom side.
Yeah, they're pretty sure across the board. I think even any one of them could defend it for well. Krenix on the top side here gets the first E-Speed. No, it has an E-Speed reset technically, but I don't know if that's a good call. He doesn't have Bone Rush anymore, so he's got to play it slow here. But otherwise, it looks like Vodacons Unite are just completely walled off. It was once them holding the line. Right now, the line is BH3, and they're not advancing anytime soon here. That's gonna be a big problem because when there's a Groudon, the game is on. They come in here, Sass dish the damage here, Seismic Sled, and we finally see Mega Charizard X trying to make a play. Sass is out of the fight, but that doesn't mean he can't join his team from a long roundabout way. Colin Crush give them a little bit of healing here as Vaporeon jumps into the fray. Mystical Barrage, see if we can get the damage mitigation out here, and a Green Lugia die to clean up onto our Giant Lizard, who is now down for the count here. Groudon looking at her, looking at corner, going down. It's gonna be the Gyarados himself to pick it up. Vodacons Unite picking himself up. The Groudon in here, and there is a chance, there is a hope and a dream that we might be able to pick up points.
Yeah, I mean, BH3 does have such a good point lead. You see Rezu getting in another 90 points for the squad. BH3 is still handedly in the lead right now, but you can see Volticons is coming towards this tier 1 goal zone, and there's no one to defend. 64 goes in. It's not quite enough, but Mewtwo gets theirs in. It could be a little scary, but BH3 is able to defend. Super good endgame from BH3. Really had to, really didn't make any mistakes for Volticons to take advantage of. They only had vision, I believe, of Saz and Kranex up in that top left-hand corner, and that's where they all positioned, and they just kind of had to go for it because that was their only in, really. At that point in the game, they had already given up a minute of that end game fight, so didn't really have a ton of options. I feel like Volticons played it as best they could. Gosh, look at these KOs. I mean, not a lot of mistakes, I feel like, on either end. Honestly, I feel like a lot of these KOs probably came in at that end game fight, but not even a lot of people went down then. Also, I mean, we did have the Umbreon and Eldegoss healing, but it just didn't really feel like a high healing game. I didn't notice if the Vaporeon was healing, but I want to say no, just looking at their baseline
You want to say
healing
no.
numbers. Yeah, but wow, it was just a really pass. I guess we also had all of the tier 1s up for quite a while, so it's not like they probably got more healing off of the goal zones, but I digress. Kranex on that Lucario, getting the highest damage in this game. E-Speed Luca still rocking it. You can see the bands as well on the screen. I'm honestly so surprised at how much Zacian and Blaziken, obviously no Blaziken in this game, but still been pretty popular despite losing that Unstoppable and getting a Hindrance Resistance instead.
Yeah, it's a nice I wouldn't say backup, but more like a power-up to everything else. Planetary power-up punch. Mind you that they still did get 3 Regis here. I'm not sure why production did update that, but that kind of gives them a huge chunk of EXP moving into it, right? They did not get the Groudon at the end, but if you look at just the levels alone, Utah was peaking 14, and even if he wasn't, it's 13, right? So there's just so much for them to work around with, and I think it's just a slip of the finger that Volticons are picking themselves up for one here, because if BH3 does go down to a 5-1 situation for them, I mean, I can't believe the joke that I made about Prod is correct, because I Prod calling 2-0 for BH3, I called Volticons 2-0, man. I didn't think that was going to happen. Let's take a look at the replays here. Moving in, this is the first Archer when it came to the objective, the 7-minute mark here. As you can see, 118 points to 29. This thing has been going on since the 7 minutes, and it's still going to carry on. They make it in, they get a good ball dunk. Lucario is happy for 30. You see Lucario coming in here and checking them off with the E-Speed just in case. But once again, in Sass that comes out with the Wish, tanks all the damage, and still walks away scot-free. And the question is, how did Vodacons win? Well, let's take a look at the entire equation here, because look at the team so spread out here. Utah is looking for something, Tranex is looking for something, Mangu's low. There's no one to vanguard for them there at the front line, and as much as even they get KOs here, right? What's Utah gonna do after this, right? Just jump to the back, hope for something to happen. But there's no one that can stop it because of the mobility you have. And everyone is just like, alright, we're gonna rip it, we're gonna rip it, we're gonna rip it.
Yeah, and you could kind of see at the beginning of that engage, Volticon's kind of used a lot of resources just to not even KO that Umbreon. I think they had already used like 2 or 3 Unite moves, and then BH3 still had all of theirs left in the tank when they kind of kited down into the central area. Mega Gyarados did hold their ultimate move, Mega Evolution, pretty much until obviously late in this fight, where you can see the big fish is on our screen now. They were able to, well, I would say pick up the KO. I guess it's attributed to the Vaporeon, but I have to imagine the Gyarados did a lot of that heavy lifting in that engage. So not a bad shout, and obviously the Mega Gyarados secured the Groudon, which wasn't quite enough to get them the dub, but it was honestly close. Like, Volticons gets one more dunk in and they take a map off of BH3. Like, that was not, I guess, as clean of a victory from BH3 as I would have expected. Obviously, I feel like BH3 had a better, like, Groudon fight in general.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I don't even remember. It was interesting that they give up 3 megas. Yeah, they did have E-Speed Lucario. But I mean, maybe it's hard. The megas are hard. It feels so like exploitable. But also it just makes endgame so hard to deal with. So many mega evolving Pokemon. Like, it's really the trade-off of early game to end game, and I feel like BH3 dealt with them very well. There's just only so much you can do, which they obviously did it, but I don't know if I would allow that comp out of Volticons again. But we'll see what they end up doing in game number 2. Obviously, we won't be privy to the draft, but we will be privy to what the draft ultimately ends up looking like once we get to the game.
Fair enough. I swear on my president, Mr. Chrisman Heroes, that we will get through this, alright? Look, they banned out Deduct. Doesn't mean we will not get Deduct back into the game. Psyduck being one of arguably my favorite picks as of late here has stole my heart and of course stolen games from people, so I do want to see hopefully they're actually pulling that out somehow, especially since Volticons I believe were the ones to ban Deduct themselves here with Mega Charizard Y and one more Pokemon I cannot remember off the top of my head, but blasphemy, racism if you could admit, they blocked Mega Lucario. How dare they, BH3? Pick it up for yourselves.
The Psyduck or the Lucario?
The Lucario. The Psyduck's a bonus.
Yeah, Psyduck, I don't know if that guy is allowed on the field right now. He is kind of a demon. Did not need buffs. I feel like they will be on the ban bench for the time being. Honestly, Mega Lucario has been on the ban bench, I feel like, all weekend long. I would be surprised to see that guy let through, and we do see quite a different look out of BH3, and right as I say Psyduck is going to be permabanned, we see that Volticon's got the duck. So instead of the Mega Pokemon, I guess BH3 was like, I guess we'll deal with a duck instead, which, you know, I don't know. What do I know? Maybe the duck isn't as scary, but we will see as we hop in this game number 2. I'm excited for both these comps.
I am, but I want to call out the fact that Leon is running slow, bro, here. We haven't seen this in a long time. In fact, it would be one of the strongest niche picks you can pick up. because of his Unite move. And that's the thing though. Who are we locking? What was the draft? I want to know so that I can understand why they picked it up here, because it definitely doesn't feel like a first pick Pokemon. But as we take a look into that here, central area here, we have a Ghatlue who's slowly leveling to Urshifu. We have our Bird who's already online here, bashing into the Bird himself, going in, acrobatics, trying to hit the Bone Sweet here. Saz again being the brunt of the damage sponge as he goes out of there with a little bit of HP to spare.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this Talonflame out of snow. I feel like we saw a bit of Slowbro. Maybe it was in Latam yesterday. I can't remember. I saw some Slowbro shenanigans, which I feel like is in a bit of a good spot. We are going to see that Scold build come out, which looking at this comp, I definitely don't hate it. They don't have a ton. I mean, they have some mobility, but there's no really like speedster level mobility on the side of BH3, so hitting those Scalds is a bit easier. And now we're gonna have the great jungle trade going on. We can see each team is taking a little bit of a detour. Detour?
A little bit.
I think it was T-Tar was channeled in my brain. In those enemy jungles.
Yeah, and as we take a look at that here, I'll look for the missing T-Tar, don't worry. Just give me a moment. My brain's refreshing. We do see this issue again where the point leads are a little bit reversed this time. Vodacons is on 75. Not a fantastic big lead as opposed to the giant one we saw last game. But remember, it comes down to the point where if you get a giant lead, like, it's so hard to stop you. And right now, with that Regidrago buff, I want to see the side of BH3 re-extend their lead. They do have it on the Urshifu here, who's going to be very happy to stack anyway. So let's see if our dear Water Bear can actually make some plays.
Yeah, which I obviously believe in Rezu, but I believe in this Water Bear Bigly. I feel like I saw it kind of more than expected yesterday, and it was kind of popping off as a jungler. Obviously, you have to get through this jungle phase, but if you do, you're able to pick up KOs just like that, hopping in the Hoopa portal, get those HP bars back intact, and looking like BH3 wants to take a really strong positioning. They are ripping apart this Registeel. They do have Miraidon downstairs, keeping a lookout. Kind of surprised, maybe shouldn't have used that Hoopa portal there, but do just instead try to walk downstairs. Meanwhile, Voltcon's able to take advantage of their numbers majority on the bottom side, get the Regieleki. It is walking toward that tier 1, but looking like BH3 is going to be able to keep it from going into the goal zone, and then we'll see what they want to do after these objectives are off the map.
Right, so as you take a look at how that happens here, we're moving to the 5-minute mark. Players are kind of slowly getting their level 9s here, their power spikes, so I do expect to see a fight in just a bit here, with Hoopa first responding to the top side. We're gonna see if there anything can come off that here. Miraidon trying its best here to see if it can steamroll this duck, you know, this demon spawn as you call it, but I don't think there's really much you can say right now other than just gonna be farming ARP, and slow and steadily we'll see a fight happen when it happens.
Yeah, it was looking like BH3 was gonna veer to that bottom path, but kind of diverted a bit. This is like where I would imagine the next fight to be in this bottom path, since both teams have these tier 1s up. You can see so much damage is going into the side of Volticons, but they're able to respond, fend off a little bit, but it is looking like both teams are kind of like not quite ready to push yet, but we're kind of preparing for it. Both have kind of backed off now, and it's looking like everyone is trying to decide where they want to go for this second objective, and right now it's all in the middle.
All I can say is cowards. Okay, you know, maybe I'm a little aggressive this morning, but I want to see BH3, especially when they have the level lead, try to take fights, because I mean, that's right? If you have the numbers, try to take a fight, try to make a play here, because ultimately you should win. Right now, this is a great start coming from them. They get a first pick onto Talonflame here. They try to finish off with Water Bear, finish off onto Tippy, and we're not seeing it. Sai comes out here with Clearly Ascendant. We almost see Fizzy go down, Rumble Rouser, and block them off for a little bit of stun. Gets back here with the heals, and they'll take another fight. You see what I mean? If they try to take a fight here, it's gonna be a lot more favorable for them. But even if they lose here, it's just gonna even out the score points here, right? They're gonna give them a little bit of points, gonna give them a little EXP, but they still got something. Next week comes out here, they burn another Unite move forcefully because they need to get a KO here. The fly comes in, the damage comes through, not enough to clean up house. And again, we're gonna see a slow beep invested here. So now you see, slowly as the EXP goes back to them, it flies back over because they overextend the fight. Boticons are not aware of this, but they are frankly aware that there's a Reggie still here, and that might be the saving grace as to why they don't lose out too much.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned at how far forward Volticons was. I was waiting for like kind of the punish on the other side of BH3, but Volticons did a solid job keeping them pushed so far back that the rest of the team could get that Reggie Steal objective, which they definitely needed in terms of XP. Obviously, they're kind of like right on the cusp of where BH3 is at, but they are on the back foot a little bit. They've been able to keep this score lead popping for this whole time. They almost got quite a few more dunks in on this top side, but we're going to see those rings go unbound for Hoopa to make sure that that tier 2 remains intact. They don't give up any other points in this game, but honestly, Volticons has done, I feel like, a really good job in both of these games. Like, not only keeping up with BH3, but giving them a bit of a tough time. Utah able to also defend that bottom tier 2 goal zone, and finally, as some more points go in on the side of BH3, they're able to break that tier 1, and it's looking like Gyarados is gonna defend this top side one just in case there is another push out of BH3, but it's looking like they are more interested in getting their farm and getting in position for this end game fight.
Well, they definitely need to here. They're 30 seconds away, and right now, we're talking about levels. That Reggie steal that they got for Vodacons, that gave them so much to work with, to be very honest with you. Their levels now are pushing into the 13th here, while we do have 113 on BH3. It's going to be a little bit rough to get the rest up. But as we move in, it's going to be a posture game right now. Middles area looking very populated, but it's not going to be populated on the side of BH3 Esports, who are slowly scrambling to get together. But I like the positioning of Vodacons here being very aggressive on the top side here, so they kind of ward out their T1 as well.
Yeah, they want to hover around that tier 1 goal zone, which makes a lot of sense to me. It does kind of give BH3 a bit of information that they might not be defending that tier 2, but they do have Talonflame down there to scare off the Serena. Hoopa puts down that portal. Obviously, Volticons already has the information on where BH3 is, but just gives them more assurance. And Crustle gonna start off this fight with a huge rock tomb.
Alright, good start here. They are moving to the 1 minute mark despite it's extending as and when again. They are walled off for one of the teammates here. It's a 3v4 situation. Tippy has to pull back here to join with his team. They do see a problem, and that is going to be the Queen herself getting locked by Slowbeam. Sayayai to try to defend his team. Rubber Rouser to get a double stun here. A Flacey comes in out of nowhere. Not sure what the plan was for Vodacons here, but they're still able to hold on to the entire team with 1 KO to their name. Question remains. Point lead is 20 points difference here. I'm not seeing the crowd go down. Vodacons Unite is in the lead. They need to hold this if they want to turn this around.
Yeah, I don't know what the pop-up was for those teams. That was such a big stun out of the Hoopa. Mew goes down. Slowbro goes down. That's a 2 KO streak for that Miraidon, and BH3 is ripping this Groudon, but I believe the Talonflame is lurking with the fly. Oh, the Hoopa! I think it was the portal tick that maybe got that for their squad. The Groudon goes to BH3, and the dunks are raining in, and BH3 able to keep their win streak going. But honestly, I think Volticons, like, really showed up during these matches. I know, production was right, 2-0, whatever, but I'm very impressed with how Volticons was able to push them to the limit.
Shame on production 2-0. How dare you? We want to see a good game 3. Alright. Channel your hatred towards that if you think Volticons deserve another chance here. But BH3, unfortunately for this round, it looks like they're going to be taking on a 6-0. Vodacons going home with 2-3 today. Megu, arguably the MVP here with a giant rock tomb into Exeter here to lock 3 Pokemon out at the very end and actually make a play. Leon as well with a slow beam is quite scary, I'll be honest with you. But at the end of the day, looks like it came down to this here. The point lead is going to be a Groudon finish. Not much to say. Looking at the damage though, not a lot of skirmishers were found, and fairly so as you see the numbers here. Utah wasn't really fighting all that much here, had a few chances to do extra damage, but otherwise damage numbers are low, which is great. They were not forcing skirmishers that they didn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to I feel like low KO, like low damage games, I feel like obviously can be a symptom of many things, but especially in a competitive setting like this, it just shows me that like both these teams know their limits. They kind of know when they need to like back up, when to cover for each other, like how to position to not get caught out essentially. So really impressive work. Yeah, I mean truly, like it just is playing smart, I would say, like not like giving the enemy team more than you ever like have to, I guess, is the best way I can put it. So really great work from Volticons, but BH3 remaining the kings of Europe for now at the top of that leaderboard. Here we have some of the highlights from this game number 2. One of these pushes on the top side where a lot of Unite moves came out to play, but overall, Volticons did a good job defending against all of them.
Right, and you can definitely see from the replays here how that really pans out here. This one was a really rough fight, but they Vodacons extended it a little bit too much here. You know, they did lose a few extra members, or at least I believe it was an even trade back to the side of BH3, even if they did take Reggie Steele, which to me just felt a little wrong, but it's whatever here. Look, you can look at the map right now. They are taking a fight here with 2 players. 3 players when they had the cross to go down, but Mew at top side here just slowly taking it down all by his lonesome here, and bit by bit they do eventually get it. So this is the breakdown here. Nobody's responding to it. Turns it around. Here's the Groudon. Nothing again. It's just very slow to be unable to really fish for anything until we see a slow beam being popped onto Critics. And then here, no pickup, right?
Yeah, I know. These BH3 members obviously were like extending to get that Mew out of the picture. Here we have that 1-minute warning. So Volticons did get the notification that they had a small lead, so that you can see BH3 goes right into action. They start putting pressure on that Groudon. They know that the onus is on them to make something happen. They had previously just pushed everyone to that tier 1, and here's that huge Hoopa stun, which I feel like was just so nasty. I loved this Hoopa Unite out of Saz. Here we see Tibby get that Mega Gyarados, but it's a bit too late after, I believe, Utah gets a double KO out of Volticons, putting on so much pressure. As that Miraidon, I mean, insane positioning out of Utah. I don't know how they got over there, but they're honestly so close on the duck, but it is gonna be that Hoopa who gets the secure for the team. So really good stuff out of BH3. We would expect no less, but really good shout to Volticons. I feel like they push them to their brink. Honestly, like they could have won, I think, either of those games.
Yeah, definitely a rough start for them at the end of the day. But as we go into it here, this means that we're going to trade to a break here. First of all, congratulations to BH3 Esports for bringing this one out to a 6-0 scoreline here. But, oh gods, you're not out of the woods just yet. There is still chance for you to make a play, so don't lose hope. You got a beautiful VOD for you to kind of just get a good refresher and see how that pans out here. But up next is going to be a heartbreaker, to say the least here. You want to call it a production v production match, go ahead. You want to call it a fight of, you know, the warring factions in EU, go ahead. I like to call it the playground fight of the century. So we'll see you guys in just a bit for Komai Esports versus Engage. Welcome back, traders of Aos Island. Of course, we've got our best here in the sets of 3. Today, of course, I'm wearing my blue Lucario shirt, you know, fitting the color. I think it's only fitting that we brought it in. Bridget, how are we doing for Komai versus Engage?
I'm very excited. These are our number 3 and number 4 teams in the standing right now, so we should have a pretty fun matchup. I'm excited.
How you can't say that, okay? I was just trolling through the chats here, and I saw that apparently it's an official rule that we have to talk a lot about one team over the other. I just not sure which team yet. I need to double check that on the channel itself. So I do believe it will be one of them. We'll get to that later on. However, as we move into that, Komai Esports is on a scoreline of 3-1. They're looking to win this off against Engage, but Engage is not too far off with a 2-2 scoreline. So this could be a 3-2-2-3 scenario or a 4-1-2-3 scenario. Let's see how this pans out here. I'm excited to see what they've got in store.
Me too. Yeah, I will be interested to see what mons they bring out versus one another. I am a big Komai fan, so I guess if we gotta pick a team, maybe we pick the team of the person we're streaming on.
No, you can have yours.
Okay.
It's yours now, not mine. So you know you can have it. I'll go with Engage. I think I think that's how you call it, Ingage.
Yeah, that one. But yeah, it should be interesting. I am not sure. I'd have to look at Engage's records in
They've only lost the base tree
thus far. Oh, really? It does say have 2 wins, 2 losses. So I think they technically lost. Oh, yeah.
They lost the BH3 and lost Katakados. Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I was confused by like the pool. Like I was like, is this the same tournament or like all within the league? But yeah, no, sorry, I'm learning how to read Start GG. I've never been here before. So yeah, the Los Katakados L was kind of interesting, but we did see them beat Vault, who we just saw in this previous game against BH3. So, it'll be an interesting one, and they have beat the French name, Jamais les Paulettes.
Jom. It's like an O like that. Chomlet.
That's something I'll never remember, but I will try for sure. So they've kind of had an interesting double. I don't know. Their wins and losses have gone either way. Sorry, my dog is barking. There's someone imminent in our perimeter. She's just protecting the home. Fine.
Okay, concerning. Don't worry about that.
No, she's fine.
I see a Mega Lucario on Ingage's side, so I'm sorry, friends. Yes, I actually am a friend of Ingage. Goodbye! Alright, you can have Komai Esports, I'll have Ingage with my Mega Lucario. Sorry, boys. Goodbye.
I am excited about that Galarian Rapidash. We didn't see any horsing around in that previous set, but obviously just off the back of some buffs, I'm excited to see what this horse can do. It does look like we have a bit of a battle of the speedsters, as I would imagine. Engage's Jungle Scyther will remain just that, a Scyther. Looks like they are doing maybe that red buff strategy with the Hoopa. About to say, I don't know if they just wanted to give Greg that red buff or they were maybe preparing for an invade. Either way, Hoopa has that red buff, which gives them a bit of a slow when they use their auto attacks, and Hoopa is such a strong early game support. You do a lot of A-pressing on those enemy teams, so having that red buff up there this early on is such a big advantage for Engage. Scyther is entered the realm as well and gets the first KO of this match.
Right, starting off strong here, 13 points aside of Komai Esports with their stacks as well. It's going to be a pretty good thing to look. But one thing's for sure, it's a big W to see that Ghatlue's not on Lucario and he's actually picking a skin worth watching for. And I've got to give it to him. That is a great start to the match. What's not good is not that he's level 5 now. He has to actually pick up the slack here because the entire side of Engage here is pushing on to 5, 6. The Rami's on 4. It's looking a little bit rough on the top side across the board here. They need to find a foothold into this race.
Yeah, I just noticed the lane partners on the side of Komai. They sent both of their tanks bot in this Wartortle and the Crustal, and then they have Torchic and Ponyta / Rapidash up top. Nice escape there from that Wartortle, but I just feel like this top lane is really it's difficult, right, to get on a line. We do finally have both of those level 5 spikes for those Komai top laners, but at this point, this Lucario is already really unlocked for Engage, which is going to be hard for them to deal with, especially when it feels like Engage also has the advantage in this bottom path. I mean, I just feel like these lanes have gone so well for Engage.
You know, not making a very good statement. The 3-1 team is looking a little rough around the edges right now. They do not get the steal back onto the Red Drago here. And right now, I want to see how they can turn this around. We have a level 8 Scyther here, which is going to be a big problem. That means that it's scaling up to its Unite move. Its next power spike. Lucario is almost at 7. It's at 7 now. Has its full set here. And question is, where the rest of the team coming around? You see the fight comes in here, Blaze Kick nicely done, close comeback to actually follow up here. And it looks like Komai has to back away because they don't need to, or rather they don't want to take another fight, they can't win here, which fair enough. But it's not looking good across the board. If there's anything they can do now, is to find a Reggie trio here and get some EXP for their team.
Yeah, Komai does get the KO on the tank Lapras there, but they are at a bit of a deficit when it comes to these levels. Ghatlue really so close to becoming a Blaziken, but still isn't there yet. I mean, Komai's squad is much more late game than Engage's. I mean, Engage's literally has no Pokemon that need to evolve. Big Talon Flame Unite move and
Illusion Dive
isn't able to get the secure for their squad, but at least is able to distract them and maybe try to get them away from that tier 1 goal zone, but instead Komai is going to let them have it. I mean, Komai they are just such a late scaling team. They have 3 Pokemon that have 3 stage evolutions, so they do have really great secure in that fly and in the Blaziken, able to secure that top side Reggie Rock and able to make a push now, but we shall see. They're able to manage it in this late game.
Yeah, Mega Lucario online now. We're gonna see if they can fight Ghatlue across here, who is level 8 here. It's a little bit rough for him, but if they just wait out this Mega on Volto, he might be able a chance to turn this around here. On top side though, we do see Ghatlue go down. Bottom side, it's gonna be a little bit rough there as Volto continues to make his way for another KO on Ndesu. Now a matchmaking heaven, Ghatlue and Ndesu. However, it's not a matchmaking heaven where you both go down together. Scoreline 34 is to 127 here. We're gonna need to see a little bit more on Komai Esports if they want to pick up the slack, because the level of disparity here is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking to make a play on this bottom tier 1. All goal zones still intact, which is a big advantage for that Hoopa, as you can see, using that hyperspace hold to get their allies top and bot side extremely quickly. And is also just kind of an intimidation factor for Komai. They have visibility when that hyperspace highway is up, and they're going to try to wait, get it on cooldown, make a big push while Hoopa can't get any of their allies down in this bot side. And finally, we have a much closer scoreline, and Komai getting a bit more unlocked in the later half of this game now that their Pokemon are way more online.
Well, I hope they are unlocked right now, because if they're not, I mean, the level lead is just gonna show them a big difference in terms of the story they're telling. Right now, they are actually going to see if they can get an invade here, and Rami in a really interesting spot here. I'm not sure if that's the right call. But if you can buy some time to burn Volto away from a fight, I think that's great. If you can get this Regieleki in, it's going to be a big amount of points. You can go in here, Gekko Kami in top side here to try to buy some time. They're going to rotate over to see if they can stop the Regieleki here. Rings Unbound invested to try and push in, and we're not seeing anything come in. Ghatlue wisely choosing to run away here, buying time for his team. He's going to fight a Lapras, but top side, the rest of the team is going to be collapsing onto Yuri, who's now in a weird spot. They have to come in, Triforce into the Green Illusion dive here. They do pick up the one, but it's not enough. Hydro Typhoon invest, Bling Sweet comes in here. That's another 2 more Unite moves burned for 1 KO here. And again, Volto on the side picking out Ghatlue. When I'm not looking, can we look at Mega Lucario more?
We've seen a lot of Volto on that Mega Luca. I did like that overall macro play from Komai. Obviously, they got a little punished for it, but they have a solid point lead at this point in the game, about a minute until our final spawn in the center of the map. I believe all the maps are shutting off on Groudon for this weekend. Reg Ice goes to the side of Komai. I feel like they have positioned themselves well for how this prior portion of this game just went, so I feel like they are looking good for the final 2 minutes.
We'll have to see. 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock here. Volto is trying his best. Greg sitting next to him, just a little bit. Yuri's position up at the bottom side here. I like the positioning across the board. Very strong start from Engage. But again, don't count Komai Esports out just yet. They have a Regieleki to their name that potentially is going to be down. So they're going to try to start a fight here. Ghatlue level 12 wants to get level 13 for the fight, but not a lot EXP. He needs to take this technically. He needs to take one good fight.
Yeah, it looked like there might have been a bit of an almost fight going on down there. Scyther in such a scary position. Clutch Hoopa portal to save them. That could have been game winning for Komai if it wasn't for that Hoopa portal.
And now for my best Spartan title impression. Alright, and when there's a Groudon, the game is on. Engage trying to take a fight here as they go around waiting for opportunity, and we of course see Komai Esports hoping to hold the line back against them. The Rami bottom side gets a little dicks and danks in onto the Scyther here, comes in against Aslan though. It's going to be a fly and he's able to get caught. He's going down for the count. The solar beam comes true and he's able to peel for Aslan, but not enough as we do see the Rami come in here to dish the damage. Triforce is invested here, no one's coming through. The Green Illusion dive pops. There's the pickup on the side, but he has to fight a Desu here, but it's looking very low. Hiyori able to back away, and right now it looks like they have a chance to actually start the rip here. Ghatlue finally getting some revenge on Volto with this skin diff right now, and I'm glad to say they might have a chance of turning this around. Please see the invest here. Hydro Typhoon is burned as well. Groudon is still looking quite healthy here. And you see the left side is in the lead. Komai Esports has the point lead here. Groudon's on 40%, I think. Moving in, they have the damage. They can go for it. Komai, one chance, one dream, one Blaziken here. The overheat is invested. There's the pickup here. Finishing it off, and we do see Komai going for the Groudon.
Yeah, really, really good patience out of Komai. I'm not sure who exactly was ripping that Groudon down. All I know was that when there was about, I don't even know, it was like a 6 of the HP bar for that Groudon. Both teams kind of backed right off of it. Komai was obviously waiting for their Blaziken to be there for that secure. And as long as Engage isn't threatening any kind of like stun on that Blaziken, that secure is still really, really strong. Just a bit scarier nowadays. So really good patience out of Komai after a pretty scary game for them, I would say. I felt like Engage kind of had them on the back foot. I've been saying that a lot today, but still stands.
Fair enough. But as we're taking a look at how this could turn around here, I want to note that it is going to be Komai Esports win first of all, which is a great big congratulations to them, being at 1-0 on the scoreline here. But the 8 minutes was horrendous. I have to say it like I see it. I think if Komai wants to do this here, the 8 minutes needs to be a lot better. Yes, they have Pokemons that need to evolve, and it kind of puts them in a really big disadvantage. that doesn't mean that they have to drop the ball so hard and make it like an 8 minutes glazing session for Engage here, while Komai takes a backseat to the 2 minutes. You know, I feel like if they are more consistent across the board, this could have been a lot cleaner, a lot better. I wouldn't see Hiyori on 9 KOs differential here across everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I do. It's an interesting comp out of Komai, double tank and double speedster. I do like what Narami was able to do, on that Galarian Rapidash, which caused a lot of chaos, I felt like, but did kind of make everything a bit more disjointed, and clearly that Mifil, I almost said Milfy, whatever, was able to pop off. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They got a lot of whamage out there on that Mew, only a attacker in this game, and with 2 speedsters running at you, it is a bit scary, but Mew is the perfect type of attacker to face this kind of comp, but in the end, Komai was able to pull it out. I just don't know. I would still like to see a different comp out of them. I don't know if this made enough of an impact, and I just feel like, I mean, I know they have the Rapidash early game, but it struggled to get online being in that top path, and I just didn't feel like it had enough. They didn't have almost any early game pressure, especially into a comp that was all early game pressure, and this Scyther was just popping off, I felt like, for the entire game, really.
Just popping off? Only? Man, that was insane. Okay, look, like I said, it's an 8-minute glaze on Engage, and then like the 2 minutes was for Komai to shine, which again, very rough, and I feel like it's just so tough for them to make much room to play. I mean, like, look at this here. Hiyori stationed at level 9 here was already prioritizing the Regieleki here, and we do see a fight come in here and a Flame Suite investment. But at the end of the day, Engage still got it. Engage team responded, and like they were getting picked one at a time here. And I mean, you could say the Narami KO was really lucky here because it get a bonus Adesu as well, but I'm not convinced that that was a free win. Yeah, this was great though. I mean, like you can see how they were postured a little bit more aggressively this time. Komai Esports able to take a nice fight, but again, then Volto comes in with the Mega Lucario here, and it just goes down in the gutter here. It's not very good. Across the board, if you see all the fights here, it's just a very big case of where is my damage carry, which every time you see Scyther, very likely it's most likely a win on the side of Engage. When you see Komai, if it's not Toast, it's gotta be Ghatlue, and if they're not together, likely they come off with a few casualties as well.
Yeah, here we have kind of the beginning of this end game fight. You can see, I feel like it starts out with Komai trying to get Aslan out of the picture, but then it kind of comes back on them where Galarian Rapidash does get KO'd by that Scyther, but we have just such like disjointed little like 2v2s going on at this point until Greg is able to use that Hoopa portal, and it does look like Engage were the perpetrators on this Groudon. They seem to be the ones that were knocking it down quite a bit, but here we have the Blastoise come in, and then all of Engage just kind of gets out of that pit, and here we see that double secure come out of Komai. They have Fly, they have Blaziken, and they do have Blastoise for some disruption, but also goes for the secure as well. You can see that Mew beam with that tick damage coming through just isn't as reliable as something with burst like the Talonflame, like the Blaziken. So Komai really, instead of going for like early game prowess or maybe even a lot of like big damage like Mew was able to do, they went for a double secure comp essentially, or like an all secure comp essentially, because they had Blastoise on that secure as well. Mew also can be a good secure, it just Mew was too zoned.
Quotation marks.
Yeah, it was too zoned out to even consider E-Ball at that point. It kind of had to be on beam if it wanted to reach the pit even, and beam is obviously less ideal than E-ball. It's tick damage, which you don't have a lot of control over when those ticks are happening, whereas E-ball is a burst, so much more reliable, but there's a lot of nuance with that. You could be on cooldown from changing your move, you might not have time to change the move, but Engage was the one ripping it, so I don't know. I just feel like Engage almost had a lack of secure,
right?
And Kamai had quite a lot, which if you're gonna rip the Groudon in the face of all that secure,
get enough damage to do so, right? Fast speed,
yeah.
you know. That being said, though, I do have a note. I think the players are being lazy. Not my words. You can figure out whose words they are. But we'll set it to a 5-minute break so that I can also be lazy with them. We'll see you guys in just a bit. There we go. The lights turned on
Welcome
there.
back. Cute. We are about to jump in to this game number 2 for Engage versus Komai. You missed it. Komai is up in games to 0-1-0. Numbers are hard.
Numbers are hard. I can only count to 4. And right now their score is at 1, so yes, thank goodness. Big number, scary.
Yeah, we were able, one of the gamers was streaming their POV, so we were able to put the draft portion of the game up on stream for you guys while we were on break. I wanted to go ahead and look at the draft. We see Engage go for quite a different look in picking up the Buzzwole and Ceruledge and Mamoswine. I'm excited for this Ceruledge. Ceruledge. I think it's in a really strong spot right now. It's pretty fun to play, and we see a really similar comp out of Komai in double tank with Umbreon this time, so a little bit more of like a pseudo support if they go that healing build, and double speedster with that Talonflame and Glare and Rapidash, but instead of the Blaziken, it looks like they picked up the Mega Gyarados. Yeah, you can see it on that spectate feature right there. Ghatlue has the Mega Gary, so we will be hopping in to this game number 2 right now.
I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about the teams here. I kind of like, again, the situation that they're in. It's basically the same situation, so I get to like tell them off if they play bad, right? Where Komai Esports is again going to have to play the 8 minutes in a very rough spot because a lot of their mods need to evolve. Especially since we have Ghatlue on a fish that's going to be useless for the better half of 2 minutes. It's gonna be interesting. Komai Esports though has a little bit of a slower draft here as well. Now with the Charcadet, they have a Swine up here as well, going into Mamoswine. I mean, it's possible. We can see it happen.
Yeah, I like this lane situation out of Komai a bit better, even though Umbreon Eevee is a bit not great to help out this Magikarp who is into an insanely strong lane of this Hoopa and Buzzwole. I mean, Ghatlue has their work cut out for them. I feel like Flebble/Crustle is a bit stronger of a lane buddy for this Magikarp, but Komai holding it down in this top path so far, and we get the Umbreon online, which is definitely going to help out Komai in this early game, but we shall see, as it looks like we're about to have 4 members of Engage collapsing on this top path.
Which is a good start here. I mean, Engage wants to get as much EXP as they can early on, starve them out here. They're pushing level 5s as well, which is a good start to try and turn this around. Ceruledge is now online now. We're going to see if they can take another fight. Ceruledge is going to go back into central area, so not much there. Buzzwole, though, trying to make some headways. We are seeing Ghatlue finding its way with Splash, trying to make something happen here. But Bolto pushed out of the portal. Ooh! That was spicy. Aslan able to back away as well. Is going to be in a great position. A beautiful effect button over the wall here. And at least they didn't walk up any casualties. Komai Esports though, very upset that they didn't get anything from that. They definitely wasted quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and we do see, I believe, the foul play build out of that Umbreon, so much more of a tank build than a support build, still rocking this double tank so far for Komai, and it's working well for them in this top path push. We do have the Ceruledge there to clean up a bit now, but still some value for Komai. I mean, really low scoring game so far in these first 2.5 minutes. Regidrago has also been walking up and down in that central area with no mind paid to it whatsoever, and we have more Reggies joining the map here shortly, so we'll see where this prioritization lies, as it looks pretty split for both teams.
Look at how they go about it here. Gyarados able to slowly grab all the EXP, but at the cost of what? Being sashimi for Engage? I didn't know Engage was that hungry, but it's got something going for them here. On the other side, bottom lane here. Now we're gonna see how they're gonna respond to the Reggie Steal, which is gonna be a great buff for them. Komai Esports already postured for it, which is a great start to anything else here. So maybe the 8 minutes won't be as rough, but we have to see how it pans out here. Hiyori onto the Regieleki now. We're not seeing anyone contest this. It looks like it's going to be free pickings for Engage on the top side.
Yeah, nice little trade from the looks of it here. We have Engage getting that Aleki, and now Narami is finally getting punished for
finally,
sitting
yes,
in that central area. And we see Komai secure that Reggie Drago in the central area, so a little bit more XP to the side of Komai. Definitely looking way more solid in this early mid game than they had previously, but we'll see how the rest of this mid game pans out. We have both of these tier 1s up on the bottom side, but no dice for any kind of pushing right now in this kind of like pseudo 4v4. Narami on this Umbreon is just setting up in the oddest places. Like what, like I think they're trying to capitalize if anyone goes back to that jungle area, but does finally kite down to the bottom path. We see Glaring Rapidash unleash its Unite move. Crystal with the Rubble Rouser as well, and Komai is pushing.
Yeah, great start there. I like the play that I try to go for to see if they can buy time. Another resource that the game has very limited of. They are able to slowly back away here, engage with the Mystical Barrage, trying to hold the ground. You get a little bit of points in. 136, they do have a nice fly to come in and make 2 people toast, as well as a Hoopa who's unable to really put himself in a good position with the Zero Edge getting KO'd. Which means that Engage has popped off with not a lot to work with here, and Komai is actually getting a lot more EXP out of that. Scoreline is 136 and 95 here. The points are not as big as I would like to be, but Komai Esports slowly making their way to their power spikes here, and that is the big plus that they have.
Yeah, nice little sneaky dunk in from the Umbreon. Does it look like we have another trade going on here? Komai should be able to get that Reg Ice for free. Engage getting a little bit of competition up in that top path for that Regieleki, but easy trade for the most part here. We shall see if any skirmishes come out as a result. I love that game of hide and seek down here. Like they don't I don't think they know, but they're both like waiting for the other one to show.
They now know. No, they know. They know. They know.
Oh, he read their mind. Okay. He went for it.
Right.
Had to just make sure they were scared away before they left the goal zone undefended.
4 minutes on the clock now, ticking down. I think they want to do something. Now's the time to burn some unites, get a few more KOs to their belt, but I'm not seeing anyone gather around. In fact, we do see Ghatlue just scaling in terms of levels here, trying to find a way out of it. Volto being a little cheeky here on the level 10, mushing 11 to try and get a little bit more for himself on their side of the map, but I think we're going to see a fight very soon here. Rings unbound. It looks like they're going to try to force a big engage here. I'm not sure what the plan was for Greg to actually put his unite here, but hey, they're going to try and make something work from this.
Yeah, use it or lose it until that end game fight. So maybe just Engage wanted a solid push here. They know they're down in points, but Komai just too ready with that defense. I mean, I think it's Ghatlue on this Mega Gyarados has just been hopping off on this big fish. I mean, I feel like he had an easier time getting online with this Mega Gyarados than even getting to Bladeskin in this last game. Obviously, get a little bit of a boost there at that level 5 more so than you do with the combo skin. So just really love to see him thriving on something different. We're going to see some dunks going in for Engage, but nothing too crazy. Pretty close scoreline, and I feel like Komai has definitely been a bit more of the drivers in this fight compared to the last one, but Engage is very much still in this. I feel like maybe other than Ghatlue is kind of running away at XP right now.
Right. I mean, to be fair, he has been farming here, and now with this Reggie Rock as well, they have a defense buff going into the next fight here, which will be the beautiful Kyogre. And that's a big issue to me, because if they push themselves well, I think Koma Esports can walk away with this. Like you said, it's going to be tough. They are kind of pushed up to the top side here. I'm not sure what the plan is, but it's going to be a risky one for the side of Engage.
Yeah, I just don't really know how they are going to deal with Mega. Gyarados Volto gets caught in an unfortunate bush where a Talonflame is. We see Narami able to get a nice little back cap. Meanwhile, we have some fights breaking out already on the top side of this pit. Mamoswine in a bit of a pickle unleashes its Unite move onto so many members. Is still up, and Adam is able to escape, but their Buzzwall, their Buzzwall goes down and they fall as well.
Bit by bit here, slowly inching their way forward. They have a Mystical Barrage to see they can hold the line with one Mew and a Dream, but I think you know how the story goes. We have a Steroid Edge here waiting for opportunity to come in, has information for the Crustle, does not have any other information here, needs to play it slow, wait for his team. I don't know whether we can afford to see them play their team, because a few of them are going to get randomly picked off here and there, and Koma is going to lose their lead. So it's better for them to just back now and join the team together. Great, start moving in here. And they try to push forward. Mamoswine looking low. They do pick it up here. Submission comes down. Flame Sweep, the Revenant Edge. And of course, now it's going to be Buzzwole who's on the chopping block here, but not without taking out a horse for its own. Turns it around. Mega Gyarados is now onto the field here. The Chomps, the Bite. He dances like the dragon here and push in to see if he can get another KO. It looks like Greg is down for the count. Right now, the situation remains here. They don't have any players to defend. It's going to be a tough one for the side of Koma Esports here, as they are happily taking off KOs one by one. Engage though, having a swell of a time, realizing that, oh nuts, we have no teammates. We just need to try and defend this. Maybe we get away with this. Who knows? But the goal zones don't lie. It's 4 goal zones to 2 here. Engage is in a weird spot. I think this one is a pretty easy game to call it. Bridget, why don't you tell me what the score is?
You were going so fast. I didn't want to interrupt you. I did have to laugh at Gek just standing on the home goal zone as Crustle while the Mew attacks Crustle, and I think it was Narami able to get their dunk off pretty well. I mean, honestly, Engage had a moment in that fight there when Greg unleashed its Unite move. I feel like they were able to get 2 big KOs there, but Ghatlue on that Mega Gyarados was just a bit unstoppable for them. Like, especially with the level advantage that Ghatlue had on the big fish. I mean, you just have nothing to stop it once it megas. Like, you have no shutdown that can deal with that guy whatsoever. 70k on the big fish. Yeah, Ghatlue was looking really nasty with it. I just think Engage needed like a CC or like a shutdown Unite move to contest with what Ghatlue was able to dish out, and it just wasn't hitting, especially at that point. I don't even think, I'm not sure how many Unite moves Engage even had at that point, so maybe it wouldn't have really mattered ultimately. I just feel like if you have a Serena, a Mimikyu, which was obviously banned out, Mimikyu is very strong right now, or even just, I mean, all the banned guys, a Blastoise Unite move to get a big stun, like, I just don't think the Hoopa was enough to keep the Gyarados at bay. Obviously, the rest of Komai built around them did a phenomenal job, but in the end, Komai just felt really in control, especially of that end game.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at the details, I want to also point out how the games could have gone just purely by looking at numbers, right? If you know nothing about Pokemon Unite, it's very important to see how numbers go. Score is important, yes, but we can tell that numbers on the side is going to be victorious to Koma Esports. But look at the assists given on the side of Koma Esports, right? Don't talk about Ghatlue, because I think Ghatlue is a machine on its own here. See, I do gaze Ghatlue when I have the chance. Okay, don't worry about that. But look at how Toast and the rest of the team work together. Toast with 6 assists here, and the rest of the team having 7. So that's a 6-7. Sorry, Sorry, I had to do that. Yeah, but my point
I get it.
stands that they were more grouped together in terms of getting fights in. They didn't really try to like walk off too far here. I mean, Adesu as Galarian Rapidash should be taking KOs, right, as Speedster. But the thing is that still very supportive of his team here. They were able to make plays across the board here. I do recall there are a lot of moments where Aslan was caught off guard. Beefil was in a position where he had to burn his, his Mystical Barrage. And Volto, of course, just easily, squashing Ghatlue in the corner every once in a while. Which goes to show you that Komai's team play it's a lot more thick. The blood of the Brotherhood runs deeper than the water of the womb. That's the quote, I think that's correct. So remember, it is going to come down to team play here, and today it looks like Komai has shown it here. Engaged really tried their best, and I can give it to them here. A lot of good plays, but it's just not enough to overcome Komai today, and this kind of wraps up the scoreline to 2-0. Let's take a look at the replay. Bridget, I've been talking, so maybe you want to have some fun with this one.
Absolutely. Here we have this first fight in this top path where Buzzwole does indeed pop off as it usually does in the early portions of this game, and just being able to reposition with that Mon can be so powerful. Here we have some of these Unite moves coming out to play, and we have a bit of a push from Komai that I feel like Ghatlue falls, but weird little stop there from the Mew with that Talonflame Unite move. I feel like it totally shut down that Talon Unite move with the barrier from the Mew, which was pretty cool to see, but it wasn't enough, obviously, for this push out of Komai. They break that goal zone, make them back up, and here we see Ghatlue popping off once again with that big fish. And yeah, just some good map control in this later portions of the game from Komai, breaking this top tier 1 as well.
Yep, agreeable. I like how you kind of summarize it up really well there. It is a great story to see how these teams kind of go about it here. Because Engage had definitely I would say a stronger fight early on in round 1. But now we're going to round 2 of this match here. I mean, you can see how this pans out. Starting from Get here with the double snipe onto the Exeter here. We have Beefil running away, and Aslan just caught off guard, right? And what can you do? You're forced to press the button because you don't want to get KO'd here, which just feels so wrong, right? Because like you're not hitting much, and everyone just invests everything into you. Aslan has to burn so much just to get away here, which then means Volto gets collapsed on. So again, this is a great play of showing you how the teams collect themselves together. They kind of collapse onto one person at a time, and slowly but surely the numbers advantage does win it out.
Yeah, and here you can see the Ledge from Engage trying to get a pinch, or I mean, honestly, that's a pretty fat Ledge Unite move, and this is where I was talking about where the momentum was kind of shifting for Engage. Like, they get these 2 big KOs on the speedsters of the Rapidash and the Talonflame, but then we have a Mega Gyarados on the field who just is able to keep Engage at bay. Like, what do you do in the face of this? And with Ghatlue able to KO kind of the rest of the members of Engage, it's just that Ledge, and they can't really do much on their own. So the tanks were able to stay up for Komai and keep the game afloat, really, because that Ledge Unite move was good. It was really good.
It was great.
And I was a little skeptical when I saw the Seru like going for the pinch, because I feel like Komai was pushed up so far forward, and it's like, who are you gonna pinch on Komai? It's 2 tanks, 2 speedsters, and a Mega Gyara. Like, who are you trying to get? Like, if there was an attacker, then like, yeah, obviously flank them. But the flank did work out better than I was fearing. I just don't think they had the right, like, Engage didn't have the right tools exactly for what Komai drafted. So, good macro in that endgame from Komai, and honestly, I was not a believer in this double speedster, double tank, but they pick up a 2-0 with it, so Maybe it was just what they needed for Engage.
Hey, this is why maybe we should have watched the draft. No, maybe production could have told us we should have like watched it. You know, it's not really our fault. Don't worry about it. We'll let production know next time. But at least Komai didn't go oh my, and Engage. Unfortunately, it looks like they're gonna be taking out another L here, pushing their score to 2-3. While Komai Esports pushes to 4-1, which means the only team that they've lost to so far is BH3. Which, gotta be honest with you, again, very tough team to beat here, but Komai will try its best. But if not, we will go for a quick break here for our third and final match today, Bridget. I'm excited to tell you what it is, but we'll save it for that. Hello traders and welcome back to Aos Island's lovely tournament here today, which is the Pokemon Unite Championship Series for Europe. My name is Nightera. Of course, Bridget is gonna be next to me giving you all the action live for our final matchup today, which is let me try to pronounce this here. Los Kados and J Imi Le Po Le.
Spot on. I feel like that was perfect enunciation as far as I can tell. So yeah, last match of the day for us. Obviously, the action will continue all day long in the other regions off broadcast, and EU will continue on the main broadcast with the other regions. So we are getting into our game number 1 here. We have Los Caricados on the top half. Looks like they got a pretty nasty draft. I mean, Mimikyu and Psyduck is insane to me, just from a spectator POV, but we'll see what Paulette is able to do here. They are looking for their first, at least, set win in this league. They've had a pretty nasty, I feel like, schedule so far. They've pretty much been playing like all of the top teams. Katakata's obviously doing well, top 5 in this European league, so no, still a big challenge in front of Paulette, but feels a bit more attainable, I guess, than maybe the Peps and the BH3 sets they've had to endure so far. So we shall see, but things are obviously already looking good for Katakata's.
Very great start indeed. I do believe the name Paulette is actually is Duck. So the full name is I Love Duck. So hopefully we'll see some KOs onto our Psyduck there. Interesting pick here is Traffy going into Greninja, which I think will be a little bit hard to play. I mean, in this day and age, I mean, this man is rocking on mons that we don't see every day. But as you can see here, it's not looking out too good, especially with our new gen mons doing so much damage to our dear Vaporeon. Upside though, they try to take a fight here. We have Clefable online and Qatar stuck at level 4 at the moment, so we need a little bit of time.
Yeah, and it looks like we're seeing the Bubble Beam out of that Psyduck, which is pretty fun for me. I think Bubble Beam is just a fun moveset on the Duck. We usually see the Surf, but I guess we have some pretty solid auto attackers in this Mimikyu, and even the Talonflame, I would say, clearly able to output a lot of damage to KO Streak for that Mimikyu on Katakatos, and looks like they would like to even out their record so far. Traffy's still a Frogadier. Tries to show their face at this Regidrago, but it will easily go the way of Katakatos.
Los Caricados is in a great spot here. They're moving into that. I what I'm seeing here, the kind of like cross-map rotation that they have here. But Jean-Blaise Paulette is in a really tight spot here as Qatar takes a big chunk of damage here. When Trick Room just kind of giving them a little bit more to work with, they actually make it out with another triple on the top side here. All along with Mimikyu and a Psyduck. However, onto the bot side here, I think Los Caricados also walked away with quite a bit as we look at the scores now. 132 to 26 here. Traffic gets taken down like the birds and the frogs.
Just like the birds and the frogs. That is such a common phrase. Who hasn't heard that one before? But yeah, things are not looking good for Paulette. Man, it feels like healers have just fallen off heavily. I just feel like the teams we've been seeing succeed haven't really been rocking many healers. Obviously today, especially, but even yesterday, I just don't feel like they've been thriving right now. We see Katakatos able to secure that Reggie Alecki. They just have so much XP when you're in comparison to their enemy team. I mean, Mimikyu level 10, and obviously you don't mind if your supports are lower level, but Clef only being level 6, and we're at the 6-minute point in this game, is just really, really rough.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, we need to see how they want to turn this fight around. But with that being said, they need to find a foothold now. The score line has a completely giant difference here from 216 to the 33 that they have, and they need to find their way around it. Mbok taking a huge chunk of damage here. Traffy finally at level 9 here, which means we should have his Water Burst Shuriken online. But again, it's coming down to how a GM comes around with the fight and takes a good one. They need to get something sneaky here and start getting sneaked back by like people like Jose, for example, or the Mimikyu, who's running Trick Room, by the way, so he can't really scare you. But again, when you're in his zone, it's a little bit hard to walk away. And just like that, they're forced with the eject button and bot side again. Traffy trying to make something happen, but it's just not working.
Yeah, I just recently noticed that Qatar is actually running the Scizor, not the Scyther.
Let's go!
Maybe it could have been a misclick. It definitely happens, but I just don't really see what Scizor adds to this composition. Especially, I mean, obviously we're seeing that Scizor Unite move come out to play now. Does pick up KO on that Miraidon, but now we have the supports and tanks utilizing their resources as well. Huge Talonflame Unite move coming out of Los Caricados. Traffy trying to get some value on the other side of the map, does need those points for their squad, but I just feel like with the tools that Paulette picked in the draft screen, it's just gonna be tough for them to contest just about anything here. We do see the Greninja get a KO on the Miraidon, but is soon taken out by the Mimikyu.
And of course, as they start this off here, they're going to have a great start with a double KO onto the side here, which means they have priority Registeel here. Again, Lost Caricados recognizes that they're just so strong and they should just take fights first. Fights lead into KOs, lead into objectives, and that's how they're going to win. However, we do see a Regidrago just a little bit lost in the central area. Hopefully someone will pick him up, and adopt him before we go into the 2-minute mark. But fight is going to be raging on here. Qatar onto that Scizor. We aren't seeing any bullet punch come through just yet. We do see the jump, the try, the red illusion die going in, but not enough. We do see Traffy finally making a play here, turning this around. The Registeel buff could be a difference maker here. First one down, Psyduck turns it back. Mimikyu, slowly but surely, the damage is flying through, but the Bright Future Meteor Storm just showed him his future. Back to the Pokemon Center, and of course, right now is seeing whether they can actually turn this back around. Traffy, Water Burst Shuriken comes in again, another try at the Mimikyu. A good serve, but not enough to clench it off here as Miraidon tries to make some damage go through. There it is, Miraidon finally picking it up with the help of the Talonflame here, and they're gonna turn this back around. Mbok trying to find his way back out to the fight here without causing more casualties, and it looks like they've come out with a bit of points back on the board, but a lot of EXP back into Lost Caricados' hands.
Sell on that Mimikyu is a demon. This Trick Room is looking so good into Paulette's comp. I mean, they're all bruisers. Like, you have to enter into that Trick Room if you want to reach anyone on Caricados, and it just enables Mimikyu to skirt around this map. I mean, they were living on 1 HP during that whole tier 1 push and made it out scot-free, which is kind of nasty. Paulette got a good amount of value in that tier 1 push. We have 14 now on the Ceruledge, highest in the game, so I do feel like the Ceruledge has a lot of momentum going into this Groudon pit, but look at Cell just taking up so much space and tries to bait in Paulette, but they are just poking and prodding at this point, but Caricados looking for a fight.
Now when there's a Groudon, the game is on. They go in for the Red Illusion dive here. The Rubber Russell stops Scizor. They pick up Traffy with the fly, turning around. The Flame Sweep pushes them all back in, and the Revenant ran to lock them in place here. This is a beautiful start from Jeon Paulette, but it ends right there with the last player standing being felled, the Vaporeon. It is now 5 players going into it, and this is going to be the Groudon they take for their first win. Lost Caricados walks away with a beautiful buff here and a potential 500-point lead moving into this.
Yeah, I mean, Caricados just making quick work of that team fight and that Groudon spawn. They just look like a well-oiled machine with this kind of Talonflame Mimikyu damage comp on the front line. It is really, really hard to deal with. And then you have the Crustle dropping people in with the Miraidon charge beams raining in damage. It is just, this draft is illegal. I mean, I haven't even really talked about the Psyduck very much. I feel like the Bubble Beam can be a bit of a, it's not as like flashy as I feel like surfing all around the map, getting those big stuns, but it just enables your team to do so much more damage. So I just feel like this draft out of Katakados was illegal. I know Colette got that Vaporeon. I feel like the Ceruledge actually put in a lot of work. Traffy had some moments with those Greninja Unite moves, but I mean, the Scizor looked okay. I just, in my head, that has to be a misclick. I just don't see why you add the Scizor to the mix when Scyther could have been really, really instrumental in getting Miraidon off the map. And I just don't think Clef is her right now. I just think healers, at least like kind of more, I guess the Clefairies of the world are just in a tough spot right now.
Okay, I see the argument there, but I have to say that Scizor is a more bruiser type Pokemon. They go into this knowing that they aren't going to be able to jump onto the Miraidon potentially. That could be one of the reasons why. But also, we need to see how the draft works out. I do believe it might be the middle picks here that they got Scizor, which probably solidifies their game plan that they really wanted to pick up the Scizor in here. Which, mind you, Qatar is a tank main, so when he picks up a lot of these top laners here, he's trying to look for value in terms of how can I actually, stay longer into fights, rather than how can I burst them down, which I feel like in that case, Scizor just makes so much more sense than running Scyther, where precision is key, even if you get the burst.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good insight to the Scizor of it all. It's more of a reflection of me. I just am not a Scizor enjoyer. Selfishly, I just always want to see Scyther out there on the field. I think it's much more impactful, so that's a reflection of me, not necessarily them. We can see, yeah. Oh, sorry. I think I called the Mimikyu Cell. Is that, or is it Reli? I don't know. I might have said their name wrong. Mimikyu putting up a lot of KOs as well as that Talonflame, but it's going to be Birdie on that Miraidon who got the damage winner of this game. I mean, just was really uncontested, I felt like, in that back line. It was really hard to get to a Miraidon in general, but when you have the rest of your squad putting on so much pressure damage-wise, it just makes it that much harder. So Birdie only took 22k. It wasn't the lowest in the game. Actually, Jose only getting 17k, which is really impressive for a speedster. Obviously, they don't have a lot of HP to give away necessarily, but still really impressive job from them on how they piloted that bird.
Right. So when you look at the numbers here, very, very obvious that a lot of fights were taken, extended fights here. The surprising one was Jose on 69,000. Haha, funny number. Moving forward with that though, it's interesting because Fly is a build that is really fly in, take damage, work out, right? We boogie out of there after we're done. And somehow it's bulking up. So it shows that a lot of fights were taken, extended rather as well. Even though we did see a lot of KOs coming on the side of Jose and Traffy, it could also relate into the amount of KOs they did get. Really, no surprise there. Trick Room sits in the fight for as long as he can. He's just trying to dish damage onto everywhere. Bertolo onto Miraidon. Same logic across the board here. The surprising thing is where Niahat is, like, why does he have 52,000 damage? It's beyond me. I'm not even going to be the one to comment on that any further. It's interesting how across the team, Lost Katakados was able to take so much damage against Jiam Pullet.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Scizor didn't look, like, bad. Obviously, it did, as you mentioned, 52k. It honestly did more work than I was giving it credit for, especially when I first saw it initially, but it just felt like it could sustain really long in those fights, but the damage output wasn't enough to deal with the likes of that Mimikyu. let's get into some of the highlights from this game number 1. Here we can just see Mimikyu popping off. Yeah, I definitely called them Cell. I don't know why. That is maybe not, maybe the C, I don't know. It's blurry, it got me. But the Mimikyu looking nasty in that top lane push. Here we have another strong showing out of Kadokados, getting this tier 1 off of the map and then walking straight into that central area, just taking a peek at what farm or berries they may be able to steal away from their enemy. And here we do see a good Scizor Unite move coming out, gets the KO on that Miraidon, but the tanks come in and just really put a stop to everything until Talonflame does their Unite move. Really clean fight out of Kadokados when they could have been in a bit of a pickle. Like, this Miraidon was getting taken down, but it kind of felt like their only means, like the only thing that Paulette was able to do, but for the rest of the squad, they just didn't have enough juice in the tank.
I think I see the vision they're calling on.
Right.
It just felt like they were running out of steam every single time they were like, for example, this, right? Traffy has the damage, but look at how low Rally is on the Mimikyu. It's like they took so much extra effort just to take like a potential KO here, and it still didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like this Trick Room was such a strong counter to a lot of what Paulette was wanting to do. Jirawi taking quite a bit of damage, but there you can just see like this Scizor just is going all in on this Crustle, who still has their Unite move, and now like the whole team of Paulette is like in this Mimi Trick Room, which they just have so much control over, and Mimikyu didn't even need their Unite move. That is how much control Kadokados had during this game number 1. So we shall see what we have going for us in this game number 2, but it's looking similar. Traffy hung up the Greninja just to pick up the Cinderace. We have double attacker now coming out for Paulette in this Mewtwo Y as well, and I would imagine Qatar is going to be rocking that Scizor, which I do think makes a little bit more sense here. I just felt like with the Cereal Edge last time, granted the Cereal Edge didn't make this big impact as the Scizor, but I just feel like it has better tools in its kit, so let's see what Paulette is able to do against Kadokados in this game number 2.
So we're gonna take a look at this now. Pushing it forward, they did have a Mewtwo onto the back here, which means it's gonna be a little bit of a pressing action. Now we are seeing Qatar back onto Scyther now. Hopefully it'll be a little change to Scizor here with the Swords Dance here. I feel like that might be a lot better into a Bruiser comp, but we'll have to see, especially since there is an Inteleon there onto the field. I think Qatar would be very happy to pick Scyther if he could.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely I feel like he's a Scizor guy after what I just witnessed in that game 1, but we'll see. I think the bulk on Paulette this time around makes a bit more sense with double attackers rocking for them, but we have Rally up in this top path. Both junglers have made an appearance. Looks like a lot of those birds are going way of Kadokados, and they're able to pick up the KO on that Scyther. Really nice momentum swing. After their Talonflame had a bit of a rough start early on, did get KO'd, but is able to back it up, and it looks like the little bird is going to be heading to their own jungle and getting that farm. Mimikyu going to hold it down in this lane in lieu of that.
Yeah, like how it's gonna carry on with this. We're gonna see if they can continue to dish damage as and when. Pushing forward, it's gonna be a rough start for them. They try to find their mark here, but I don't see anything they can really do in this entire lane right now, other than just sit back and farm. Qatar trying to make some headways here to get more EXP, but it's gonna be thwarted by the faults of Snorlax's big heavy slam.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of action going on in this top path, and it looks like we're gonna have a Trick Hoopa. I think I saw the trick on that Scizor, which would be kind of a fun change for Palette. Honestly, this Cinderace is already looking a lot better than Greninja was able to do in that early game. Good on that Umbreon, and getting a 2 KO streak for that Umbreon. Cinderace, Traffy putting in a lot of work there, but Palette already looking a lot stronger in this game too.
I'm not really sure what the plan is here. They're in a weird spot where it's like, yeah, I guess they could like make it work, but man, as good looking into how the numbers are a little misleading because you have level 8 on track enough here. At least 9 here. Them on are a little bit underpowered, I have to be honest with you. Right now, as they go into the fight, it's gonna be a tough one. For the back, the fight comes in, it's gonna hit for 2. Big damage on Traffy, big damage on Hoopa here, and there's not really much you can do until Qatar comes in. And with a Yawn, there's not really anything you can do. Qatar has to sit down there and wait. You might want to try and get Jose, but look at that. Fly just gives you so much ways to walk away. Qatar, though, very aggressive in his forwardness, his little bullet punches, and make sure that he secures the Regieleki. I like the aggression here. I like how they're able to get this. Bridget is looking a little bit better for a GM Lepulette.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking underpowered at all. I feel like Cinderace is a really solid choice. Traffy's piloting it really well. Rasu coming in contact with that Mimikyu in their own jungle. We see the Scizor Unite move come out, punishing that Mimikyu for even getting close to their jungle area. Here we have the tanks from Katakata who's trying to set up a play on this Scizor. It looks like Qatar is in a bit of trouble. Already used their Unite move, so can't use it now. Nice dodge on that snipe shot. Enables Qatar to get out of there. And Katakatu's kind of needs to make something happen. They have both of these tanks looking ready to go, but we're actually going to see some action in this top L bush. Mimikyu Unite move gets the KO on that front line Scizor, and now Katakato's looking to convert on the back of that KO.
Right, so as they continue to take this fight, 5 minutes on the clock here, looks like Ghatlue is actually in the lead in terms of the levels here and the numbers that they could do. They do not get caught by the Flame Sweep, thankfully, which is a great start for them, as Lost Katakata kind of needs to play a little bit slower right now, given their small deficit. Across the board, they are at 144 points and 60 here. Lost Katakata doesn't have the level advantage here and doesn't have the resources to take another fight in terms of Unite moves.
Yeah, Kadus does get the Trevenant Unite move to tick back in, but I don't know how much gas they have in the tank for that top objective. It is only Qatar up here right now for Paulette, but they've been doing a great job on that kind of more tanky Scizor pick, which I feel like they've been almost, like you mentioned, playing it as a tank, which has made it look really good. I feel like these Trick Hoopa plays have really made Paulette look a lot stronger as well. We have Kadukados really owning this Reggie Steel pit. The Hoopa Unbound does come out, but it's a little bit too late. The Steel goes to Kadukados, but the rest of the team of Paulette is up here, and they want these KOs. Able to secure one on that Mimikyu, and now we have some really good momentum for Paulette. Talonflame tries to get into this back line, able to escape. Traffy looking to push, but has to back it up instead.
Right, and so right now, I guess the answer here is, can they find a way out of this problem? Which I feel like the answer is not really, right? Because especially if they're so predominant around the map here, they have the level leads and everything here, they just want to just stop them from getting objectives. Level 10s across the board for the side of JL Paulette. On the other side, 11's pushing up. And I guess right now, the question is, how can you respond to them without your core team of Traffy and Qatar? Right, you have a Mewtwo Y, he's at the bottom here, not really sure what the plan is to not be his team, especially with such a crucial fight over there.
Yeah, Paulette got a bit, I feel like some decision paralysis was going on. Kadukados put some pressure on that bottom tier one with Jose on the Talonflame. It kind of caused Paulette to pull away from their top tier one, and then Kadukados collapsed on that as well. So really good map awareness from Kadukados. I feel like they're keeping good track of where Paulette is on this map. We do have the Snorlax get KO'd there, but Kadukados looking to put more pressure on the top side now that they have the goal advantage there, and Paulette doing the same thing on the bot side. Jose doing a great job on this Talonflame, sneaking in so many back caps, getting them the point lead that they had been missing throughout this entire set. And now we only have 20 seconds left until this Groudon spawns in.
I agree with you, and right now as they kind of take this, it's going to be a little bit of a push towards their level 13 spikes as well here. No 13 else on the board except for Talonflame, but a little bit closer is all they really need to turn this around. Because as they start this Groudon off, a Gem has one option here, and that's to rip it or take a team fight. And I think whichever option you take now, you're on a timer, right? Now in Talon's level 13, they're starting it off. It's going to be a big amount of damage coming through. I do not see an out here. They do have a fly. That's the first pick on the Mewtwo Y. They lost one damage dealers here. Traffy needs to turn this around here. Has Nick and neck onto the beautiful Talonflame's KO here, but it's not enough. The bicycle kick comes in here for a double KO, and now they've got 3 on the board. They're turning this around. Hopefully, they can actually carry on here, and this is why Traffy plays mods that are simple and to his liking. Comfort picks are his way to go, and he's shown you once again that as the team, they made it work. But I opened my mouth too long here, and of course, he gets absolutely punished.
Birdie has been hitting these snipe shots during this end game. They started off the set getting huge damage on that Umbreon and that Mewtwo Y. The Groudon is now on a sliver. Can they hit the most important snipe shot of them all? No, it is going to go to, I believe, Jirari on that Trevenant, one of their notable mons. And wow, I feel like Birdie just, he just owned that Groudon pit. Paulette, honestly, looking like it was totally going in their favor, even though I believe they lost someone early, maybe the Mewtwo Y. Jose had such a nice flank on the Mewtwo Y. I think got hit by a snipe shot, tried to back, and instead there was Jose ready to hit it with a fly during its back animation. So really, and then was able to do a nice clean Talonflame Unite move, which was kind of countered by that Hoopa Unite move. Really good Hoopa from Paulette. I was very impressed with them, and just wasn't enough for the likes of Birdie on that intel. Really, I mean, clutched up for Kadukados. Paulette, I was kind of... I was drinking the Scizor juice, which sounds crazy, but I was kind of rooting for them going... yeah, we'll workshop it, but... I was kind of rooting for them going into that end game. Traffy looked really strong on that Cinderace. I liked this look from them quite a bit more. I feel like they were able to build the team around it a bit better, but Birdie gonna have the highest KOs at number 6 in this game number 2. Getting them another clean 2-0 for their record. But man, Paulette was... I really liked their look in this game too. Obviously, much better than their game number 1. Man. They almost had him. Yeah, okay. Well, now you can't say it. You told me not to say it.
No, I'm just repeating you. I like it. I want my Lucario juice. Where's my Lucario juice? I want to see more Lucario in this game.
Stop it. I've had too much coffee.
Alright, this kind of wraps it up here at 2-0 Lost Kadukados against Gian and Paulette here. As we look at the scoreline, it's a little bit rough when you see Bertillo on the 100,000 mark. It's really making waves on that. Indeed, insane indeed. As we do see, as the look around here, 771 points. I mean, what can I say except, like, 2 minutes, just flip the objective, right? At the end of the day, Lost Kadukados had a small window opportunity to come back into the game. They took it away from GM and Paulette. They were stopping them. And I mean, the worst part was they had 3 Registeals to their name, right? Had they not had 3 Registeals, I feel like a lot of fights would not have gone their way as much.
Yeah, definitely helped them out during these engages. You're right. Definitely made those snipe shots hit even harder. But man, Birdie, I just felt like, really saved the day there. In the end game here, we have kind of this mid-game fight going on just below this top lane, and at a bit of a standstill. I feel like they did a good job like bobbing and weaving away from those snipe shots, but there's only so much you can do. Here we see Jose kind of be getting the split push with their Talonflame, which I feel like really gave Katakata some nice momentum in like the beginning of this end game here. Here you can see this huge flank from Jose, and then he goes right into this that big Talonflame Unite move. So clean, doesn't hit the wall, but then Hoopa hits him with this Unite move, and it was looking really good for Paulette, but then Birdie Unite moving on this intel. Look at all of the damage they're able to output for their team. Just really hits hard on something as squishy as like a Cinderace, and just no pressure able to be put on Birdie. Like Umbreon was trying to do their best keeping their Cinderace alive, but just wasn't able to have good the right angles to keep those snipe shots from hitting their carries. And then now we have the rest of the tanks here to keep Birdie safe, and I believe it was maybe the Trevenant who gets the secure here. We see the Unite move come out from the Mewtwo, a good shout but here, and I feel like Birdie was even a little early on, the snipe shot of it all. Talonflame has a really good fly over this, looking for the secure. Oh my gosh, the suspense.
Look at it.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be.
That's the point. Production can do it. There's the hit. It's a complete clean shot. 4 players. Qatar was the only one standing. They got it down there. In fact, we can even zoom in and then rewind a little bit, and you can see what I mean as we go into it here. In fact, there were a few shots that I want to zoom in, especially because Bertolo just made so many good hits and nicks and knacks here. That I feel like at the end of the day, it just feels like there were like so many moments that could be I wouldn't say viable in a sense, but more so it gave them opportunities to turn the fight around. But Lost Catacombs on the other side, they were very happy to play this out. They didn't really give a lot of wiggle room for GM Lepelette to really come back into it. And to be very fair to that, it is a very tough fight, even from my perspective.
Yeah, I honestly feel like Paulette played that really well, honestly. Maybe some like little change, like they needed maybe more of their front line getting in front of those snipe shots. Obviously, they don't pierce, so if you're able to body block them, that is really effective, but it's hard. I mean, especially when they're just like reining in. The Umbreon was trying to get heals on their carry. They weren't necessarily looking to like zone out, but man, I was rooting for you, Paulette. I feel like they are getting a little underrated in this league. I know they've had a really hard circuit. They've literally only played like the top like 5 teams or whatever. Like they haven't played any of the other teams like kind of on the lower end of the league. So I feel like they have more to give than their scoreline leads, but Katakatos gonna be pulling this one away, giving them that 3-3 record, keeping them in the middle of the pack.
Agreeable here. And I guess at the end of the day, all these matches here are to show you how the teams have gone about doing so well to make such a beautiful series for us. And it's only a few weeks in. We still have a few more games to go. Of course, congratulations on teams that advance forward with one more extra point here, but it doesn't mean the rest of the teams are going to be backing down here. GM Lepelette, scoreline 0-5, doesn't mean it's going to end at 0-5 here. We will see potentially a 1-5 next week when he goes up. There's something interesting, who knows? It's going to be a lot of things happening. So, with that being said here, Bridge, I don't know about you, but let's see if you have any final thoughts on the 3 matches here today before we wrap this up.
just really impressed with all of the matches today. I feel like even the teams that have taken the L's really showed up and showed out. They were honestly by no means like stompings throughout, like even if like one game was like pretty handedly done, I felt like teams really bounced back in the other games. So honestly, I feel like EU is a bit more competitive than maybe people give it credit for. So keep tuning in to the main broadcast for those other EU games this week. And yeah, like you said, only maybe halfway through the season, if that, in terms of these leagues. So excited to see how these teams progress throughout the rest of this league.
Alright, and with that said though, do tune in to Kudo's Unite stream channel later on for the LA stream if you ever want to catch that. Or on the NA site, we have Kyle's stream, Steel Agent Kyle, if you want to take a look a little bit more on NA's progress here. So we've got a good lineup of games coming for you, even if we're not on this channel in particular. Alright, this has been Ghatlue's Glazing channel. Of course, that'd be Clash, but my name is Nitera. Of course, we have Bridget on with me, and we're so happy to have gone through this broadcast with you. But we'll see you next week for a little bit more action on the EU side of things.